Hey, Joe Gilder from HomeStudioCorner.com here. Last video we talked about the start page. Today let's talk about the song page. So we can get to a song page by just selecting a song from this list. Now you know it's a song either because you remember, you hover over it and see that it says song here at the end of the file name, or because it has this little icon here. If it was a project, a mastering project, it looks like this. Got a little CD there. So that's how you know the difference. Also, you can look right here. That's the picture of a song. That's the icon for a project. So let's open up a recent song. Here's one. All right, so here is the song page. This is the window that you have seen in any system out there. They all look roughly the same. This is Studio One's version of the edit window in Pro Tools. Okay. Now I'm going to go in depth into all the different sections of the arrange window in your song, and there's lots and lots and lots of things to look into, and I promise we're going to go into those, especially the ones that I use the most. But for now, in this video, I just want to do a basic overview to show you what it's like, the different sections that are here, and we'll dive into those in a future video. The first thing I want to talk about, this is actually a really cool feature that I didn't realize existed when I first started using Studio One. And then when I realized it existed, I didn't think I'd use it that much, but now it's a really cool feature. So if you look up here in this top right corner, you'll see the same three buttons that you see on the start page: Start, Song, and Project. Okay? So anytime we're working on a song, we can get back to the start page by just clicking here. And then if we want to get back to the song, we just click on Song. And if there's a project open, we can click on Project. So if you are a Pro Tools user or you use some other system that only allows you to have one song or session open at a time, you can probably start to see how cool this can be. Okay? So let's say, I'll give you an example of how this is useful. Let's say I'm working on this song and I get a call from my buddy who I just did a mix for, and he says, hey, can you do a quick remix and turn that vocal up a couple dB? I need it right now. I can say, okay, let me just leave this open because I'm in the middle of something here, and go back to my start page, and here's that song he wants me to work on. Okay, let's click on that and open it up. Okay, so here's that session. I can go in here, I can do everything I need to do on that song, and let's say I'm ready to bounce it and send it to him, but I have a quick question for him. So I call him, he doesn't answer, I leave a voicemail. Well, I have to wait for him to call back. What do? I can sit here, or I can go work on what I was working on before he called, okay? Are you loving this scenario? I'm a great storyteller. Okay, so what do we want to do? We want to go back to that previous song we were working on. Well, actually, it's very easy to do. If you have more than one song open, then you'll see this little pull-down arrow come up. Click on that, and it shows you any songs you have open currently. So if I just click on that right there, boom, here it comes. It takes me back to that song. So both songs are open and waiting for me to work on them. So I can easily and quickly flip between them. This is really helpful if you want to take a piece of audio or a setting or something from one song to another. You can have both open. I can hit copy here, go to the other song, and paste it in the other song. There's just a bunch of very useful things you can do with this feature. And the one thing to keep in mind, though, is that if you do have a bunch of songs open, they do occupy some amount of RAM. So you don't want to have 10 songs open while you're mixing an album. But if you had one or two, that's totally doable, and there's lots of uses you can use that for. The same is true for projects. So if you have a song open and it's a part of a greater project that you would be mastering later, you can have that project open in the background and flip between them as much as you need to. Super, super cool feature. Now, for the rest of this song page, you've got the basic arrange window, which is where you do most of your stuff. You've got the mix window, which this can look very different. I'll show you how I like to set this up personally, but you can make this look several different ways. Obviously, it can have a lot more tracks too. I don't work exclusively on 2-track songs, I promise. Down here, you've got a lot of information down here about the performance, all your stuff about bars and seconds, and your transport control, pre-roll, punch-in, metronome, click track, all that stuff is down here. Lots of useful stuff down here we're going to cover. Up here, you've also got a bunch of buttons. This is all your cursor, different cursor modes you can have. This is a really useful help feature. Over here, kind of how is the grid going to operate on this particular song, and then some different transport controls, or basically how the cursor behaves in the session. And then over here, we've got even more views. You can add a track list of all your tracks. You can add more information about each individual track. You can view automation. You can view the tempo to do tempo automation. You can view your markers. There's a lot of stuff over here too. But you can always get rid of all of these windows and keep things very simple. That's one of the things I like about Studio One. I can keep things simple. The final page is this browse page over here. And this is where you can look at everything from your virtual instruments to your effects to your sounds, such as loops and things like that. You can access just a list of files, and the pool, which is all the files for this particular song. They're all available right here in this browse window, which you can access over here. These all have shortcuts to go with them. There's an edit window, there's a mix window, and there's a browse window. And they can all be open in various different combinations, but it's all there and waiting for you, but you can just hide it if you don't want to use it. That's kind of the cool part. It's not all in your face to make you super confused. You can leave things very simple like this, and then you can dive in deeper to each section as you learn how it works and as you want to take advantage of that section. Okay, so I'm going to dive in, like I said, I'm going to dive into each of those sections very, very in-depth in future videos and show you all the cool things you can do with them. But for now, this is the song page. This is where you can get started recording and making music. And it's probably my favorite part, a nice blank screen, endless possibilities. All right, see you in future videos. Bye.